a friendly conversation between Soviet and German soldiers in September 1939 after the partition of Poland. Such photographs were never officially published in the USSR. Back in the 15th century, moose were used as mounts in the Swedish army. Meanwhile, in Russia, a decree banned riding moose in cities because they kept knocking people over. A Turkish official taunts starving Armenian children with bread. The Armenian Genocide, 1915. True love lasts forever, a kiss dating back 6,000 years, discovered during construction work in Iran, 1972. Louise Bundy, mother of serial killer Ted Bundy, talks to him on the phone minutes before his execution. "You will always be my precious son. A mother is always a mother." Children in bomb shield hats, headphones and protection from biting their tongues. Sydney, 1942. Players from the Toronto Maple Leafs and Chicago Blackhawks search for a lost expensive contact lens belonging to Jack Evans. Mothers with children in artificial respirators designed for protection against chemical attacks. Great Britain, 1939. Hitler's reaction to the outbreak of WWI 1914, then unknown Adolf Hitler cheers with the crowd in Munich. A man tries to fill a glass with moonshine poured from a window by a federal agent during the Prohibition era. USA, 1925. In the 13th century near Paris, the giant gallows of Montfaucon were built, which have not survived to this day. Executions for 50 people could be carried out there simultaneously. A crowd of white, civilized Americans mocking two participants in the Black Civil Rights Movement, 1965. Dice made of human bones. Found during a search of the home of Ed Gein, American serial killer, necrophile, and body snatcher. He is one of the most notorious serial killers in U.S. history. In 1996, at New Delhi Airport, a Saudi Arabian Airlines Boeing 747 and a Kazakh Il-76 collided. Both flights were on the same route but in opposite directions, and the pilots failed to communicate their intentions in time because they could not speak English. The crash killed 349 passengers and crew. Laszlo Toth, arrested after committing an act of vandalism. He attacked Michelangelo's Pietà, shouting, "I am Jesus Christ, Christ has risen from the dead," and managed to strike it 15 times with a hammer, 1972. The Chicago Plan of 1833, when the city had only 350 residents. Children in trenches during the bombing of England around 1941. Beauty pageant winners, Washington, 1922. In 1930, a terrifying discovery was made. It was a device with a skull inside which mimicked the contours of a human body. This was how bandits, pirates, and murderers were executed. They were hung for display until they died. Vincenzo Peruggia stole the Mona Lisa from the Louvre in 1911, and in 1913 the painting was found in his hotel room in Florence. A giant sea devil caught by Captain Khan, August 26, 1933. The submarine Kursk being lifted from the bottom of the Barents Sea. 100 years ago, this man was considered incredibly fat and was even showcased in a circus. Women's clothing department in Russia, Moscow, 1990. the head of an extinct dodo bird kept in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. This is the only preserved head of the extinct animal. On April 15, 1989, one of the most horrific tragedies in the history of English football occurred. 94 Liverpool fans were crushed to death, and 766 others were injured at Hillsborough Stadium during an FA Cup semi-final match against Nottingham Forest. Black Day, the one day of the year when black visitors were allowed at the Memphis Zoo, 1959. A baseball team of prisoners whose executions were delayed only as long as they kept winning, c. 1910. A school bus on the streets of Taiwan, 1950s. During World War II, the Soviet Army trained suicide dogs to destroy enemy tanks. Starving dogs were taught that food could be found under a mock-up of a combat vehicle. Rose Kennedy, mother of the murdered U.S. President John F. Kennedy, outlived 4 of her children, 3 grandchildren, 3 sons-in-law, daughter-in-law Jacqueline, and lived to the age of 104. Escape by swimming, 1966. A mother and children from South Vietnam attempt to swim across a river to escape an attack during Operation Piranha. When the photo won a Pulitzer Prize, photographer Kyuchi Sawada went searching for the family in the photo and ultimately gave them half of the winnings. A postcard, late 19th, early 20th century. American scientist James Stuckey and volunteer Judy Creedon demonstrating the human body's ability to conduct electricity during a lecture in New York, 1966. John Snow, an English doctor from the 19th century who single-handedly uncovered the causes of the cholera epidemic, but other doctors did not believe in his theories. A man stops a tank with his body during the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia, 1968. In the late 1960s, Czechoslovakia sought to implement some democratic standards like freedom of speech and press. Annie Jones, a bearded woman who worked her whole life in the circus. Her mother sold her into it when she was just 3 years old. Strongman Stefan shows his strength by pulling a car through the streets of Berlin with his teeth, 1925. Police remove bodies from the Amityville house. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo killed his father, mother, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. This story later became the basis for many horror books and films. These unique shots capture Berlin residents trying to save zoo animals amid the thunder of Soviet artillery, Germany, 1945. The oldest documented joke in history belongs to the Sumerians and dates back to around 1900 BC. It goes, "Since time immemorial, it has never happened that a young wife did not pass gas in her husband's embrace." In Tibet, a woman with more than 10 men was considered a desirable bride. Virgins were forbidden from marrying. Marco Polo said that Tibetan girls easily gave themselves to foreigners. The bathtub of Russian Emperor Alexander Thurs. Just freed prisoners from a Nazi camp queuing for food. Charles King, president of Iberia in 1927, entered the Guinness Book of Records for the most fraudulent election in history, winning 234,000 votes in a country with only 15,000 registered voters. Walt Disney tells his cat about Mickey Mouse, 1931. The steam vibrator. This is the world's first steam-powered vibrator, designed by American doctor George Taylor in 1869. Dr. Taylor used it to treat female hysteria. Priests consecrating ballistic missiles named Satan, Russia, 2022. A girl, descendant of slaves, lives on a plantation in a primitive hut with newspapers for wallpaper, Alabama, 1937. An Armenian woman from Aleppo with tattoos indicating her belonging to a Bedouin tribe, 1915. Arab nomads gave her a choice: marry one of them and convert to Islam, or be handed over to Turkish soldiers. A gruesome photo from the Soviet Institute of Experimental Pathology and Therapy in Sukhumi, 1975. The armored Mercedes-Benz of the president of Ingushetia after an assassination attempt by the Russians, 2005. Mother and son watch a growing mushroom cloud during nuclear tests, Las Vegas, USA, 1953. A Palestinian teenager shoots a slingshot at an Israeli Air Force helicopter, West Bank, 1988. Whiskey dispensing machine, USA, 1960s. Mike Tyson in glamorous pink handcuffs goes to prison for drug possession and drunk driving, 2008. This little girl was separated from her family, but it was her only hope for survival, 1938. As part of the Kindertransport operation, Great Britain took in thousands of Jewish children. Annual canal cleaning in Amsterdam, 1963. Over 20,000 bikes still end up in the canals every year. Family Shelter for Atomic War, USA, 1961. Tsutomu Yamaguchi survived the explosion in Hiroshima, left for work in Nagasaki, and 3 days later survived the bombing there too. This photograph, taken in 1936, became a symbol of the Great Depression in popular culture. Rome, 1964. This is a local lost and found office. On the shelves, lost umbrellas. It's very interesting how the owner can recognize their umbrella in such abundance. The real Peaky Blinders and the actors who played them. A teenager at the ruins of his home 4 days after Hurricane Camille passed through. Buras, USA, 1960s. George Dyler, beer drinking champion. He consumed a pint in 4 seconds, United Kingdom, 1954. Patient undergoing treatment for mental illness, Germany, 1890. 66 years later, this soldier's granddaughter found this photo and was horrified to discover that her grandfather was a fascist who served in a detachment involved in mass killings. Telephone lines in New York, USA, 1903. Captain Paul Tibbets just before taking off, during which the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, 1945. This is a wealthy family, 1910s, Liberia. In the 19th century, a movement arose in the U.S. to return freed African slaves to Liberia. Later, African Americans captured lands of indigenous tribes, enslaving them, and replicating the U.S. lifestyle became slaveholders. American submarine rescuing a pilot shot down by the Japanese. Future U.S. President George H.W. Bush, 1944. Korean refugees crossing a bomb-damaged bridge, 1950. A priest holds a service for dozens of Titanic victims before burial at sea, 1912. A girl picks up coal that fell from a truck, Dublin, Ireland, 1972. An Iraqi family fleeing the war, Iraq, 2003. Breakup letter from Tupac to Madonna in 1995, written while in Rikers Island prison. He admits that being in a relationship with a white woman could hurt his reputation among fans. Woman drinking tea amid the ruins of her home after heavy bombing of London, 1940. The world's largest monument to Stalin was unveiled in Prague, Poland in 1955. It was nicknamed the Line for Meat by the People. A German soldier next to a shell with the inscription, "I didn't want war," France, 1917. Car in which Al Capone's lawyer who testified against him was killed, 1939. Auchlan, a member of the light cavalry of Kaiser's Germany at the dawn of the end of this branch of the army, 1914. A newspaper seller selling the latest edition, 1939. Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau carries his future successor, Justin Trudeau, under his arm. Ottawa, 1973. A woman carries a sewing machine on her head using the local method of carrying. Women from these regions usually carry water jugs on their heads. Kuwait, 1955. On April 1, 1915, in the midst of World War I, a French plane appeared over a German camp and dropped what looked like a huge bomb. The soldiers scattered, waiting for an explosion, but none came. Instead, a large ball landed, bearing the words, "April Fools." A photo of a boy who heard sound for the first time in his life. The doctor had just fitted him with a hearing aid in his left ear. Liquidators prepare to clear the reactor roof. Many of them would soon die from radiation sickness caused by exposure. During the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster, 1986. A grim memorial to the victims of the Buchenwald concentration camp. Death trains with prisoners traveled on these rails, Germany. Students at Augustana College react to the not guilty verdict of O.J. Simpson's murder trial, October 3, 1995. A meeting of the American organization Friends of New Germany, New York, 1934. A random lifeboat found months after the Titanic sank in 1912. Inside were 3 dead bodies who had initially survived the disaster. Edward Smith, the captain of the Titanic. The voyage on the Titanic was supposed to be Smith's last before retirement. Conjoined twins Pip and Flip, popular circus performers, 1923. A dancer. Behind her, an atomic explosion, Nevada, 1950. The border between Vietnam and Cambodia, fortified with poisoned bamboo stakes, 1972. A man guards his family from cannibals, the Great Famine, 1876, British India. The Lebensborn program operated in the Third Reich. Racially pure women slept with SS officers to produce true Aryans. Over 12 years, 20,000 children were born through this program. In 1940, portraits of Adolf Hitler were distributed in a Polish resettlement camp to be hung in apartments. Passers-by gather to watch. W.A. Hero, Audie Murphy, Visit a Barber, Texas, 1946. A Young Bride Heading to Her Wedding, China, 1912. Did this make you laugh, cry, or feel frustrated? Let me know your reaction in the comment section. Make sure to watch out for the next episode. Drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Cheers.